Now, you're originally from Seattle, or did you?
Originally from Oregon, Southern Oregon.
Okay.
And then moved to Seattle.
Okay.
And then, now we're here in Southern California.
Now,
Sunny Southern California.
No, there's nothing better.
There's really not.
There's nothing better.
There's not. I mean, like as far as weather and I think people, I think it's a great, great spot.
People hate on SoCal. Well, okay, so you're in San Diego, so that's a different culture. Like, people hate on SoCal because they think LA culture is everywhere. But like,
yeah, but that's like anything. So like in Oregon, where I'm from, there's Southern Oregon, and then there's Portland or Portlandia. like
Portland's
you have a
monster,
very unique Antifa-based person that pretty much lives in Portland. You know what I mean? And God bless those Antifa people. There's a unique person. Not all of them are Antifa. There's a unique person who lives in Portland, but then you go to the other side of the state, and it's like farmland and good wholesome people that just want to have a good life, and so it's day and night.
Dude, Oregon's beautiful. Like,
it really actually is very, very beautiful. A lot of mountains, a lot of trees,
a lot of green. I think it's an underrated place to live. I think that people figure it out. Again, because people get the rep on Portland. But, like, I stopped at Medford for a couple of days. I stopped at Eugene.
Yeah, there's some nice places. I mean, some nice spots.
Yeah.
So.
I like it. So you go from Seattle, Del Mar.
So, Seattle to Del Mar, yes. So, I went Southern Oregon from Klamath Falls, this little town in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
Moved to Seattle after the big downturn in 2007.
So why Seattle? Why'd you pick Seattle?
Well, Seattle, interestingly enough, I could have gone to Portland or Seattle, and I just thought people were a little less weird in Seattle. That's really what I thought. Yeah. And I still think that. I think that there's some good people. I mean, like, you came from Seattle, right? There's some good people in Seattle. Not that there's no good people in Portland. I just think there's a bigger variety of people in Seattle.
It's just a little more in your face.
In Portland, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just a smaller area, and so there's just not as much variety. But back up a little bit. 19, sell my first house.
Okay.
23, open my own real estate company. 2007 hits. So I opened my own company in 2005.
Okay.
2007 hits. People quit buying houses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here thinking I'm doing okay. And I've got some good reserves and everything that way. Like I'm okay, and this is going to turn quick. 2008 hits, 2009 hits, 2010 hits. I leave with basically my shirt. It wasn't a good situation, but in that whole situation, I ended up having an opportunity to either move to Portland, Oregon, or Seattle, Washington. Now, I do have a brother in the Seattle area, but the only person that I knew in Seattle, all a million people or whatever, was my brother, his wife, and 2 kids. He's got 3 kids now.
That builds character, though, because like when I moved to Seattle, I knew the guy who hired me.
That was it.
That was it.
So where did you now? What was your journey?
So it was like East LA, UC San Diego. So I lived in San Diego for 8 years, and then from there I moved to Seattle. And
how long were you in Seattle?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And then you moved right back here.
And then I moved down here to Riverside.
Now you say talk about the difference when we're talking about culture.
Yeah.
Right. So people think if you're from Oregon, it was like Portland. They assume you're like Portland.
Yeah.
Right. But then you're here in California, and people assume you're what?
You're LA or you're Frisco.
Right? Or Frisco, right?
Or tech, yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. So what do you think the difference is for everybody?
Well, as far as the difference in cultures, it just depends on, I think it comes down to values. It comes down to the values that you're bred with. So like it's the nature versus nurture. And so with the nurture around you really is going to build out who you're going to be. you grow up in East LA, you grow up in with a certain mentality. You grow up with a certain type of anxiety every day.
Tell me what's the mentality that you're growing up with in East LA? Just because I'm not from East LA.
It's grit.
Grit?
It's grit. It's grit and survival. It's how there's times where you're like, if I go to school today, there's a damn good chance I'm gonna get jumped. Mm-hmm. You know, you hear your friends getting shot and killed. You know, you hear someone, you know, that's 2-3 touches away from you. Oh, this dude just got blasted. Oh, there was a drive-by. Oh, there was a stabbing. So these things that you just are kind of around you. And so that walk to school, to high school, could be
your last walk to school.
Yeah, it could be. And you may not even recognize that you're thinking that. Mm-hmm. You know, but your head's on a swivel. And so you're constantly in an elevated state of anxiety.
So you grow up with that. You grow up in the East.
Yeah, you grow up.
So then, like, so now, like, I mean, I see the things you're doing.
So, but it embeds something in you, right? Like,
right.
You sit at a restaurant, you're facing the door. And like the people that you end up dating, like they already know this about you.
You walk on the inside, the side of the cars are going on right on the sidewalk.
You always park in reverse because you want to weigh out. Like these are just natural things that you end up doing, and it builds out. So then it comes to like grit, right? Like there's a different type of hustle when you're come from nothing and you're just like, oh, my loans got suspended. I gotta fight for an extra couple of days with an underwriter to get this approved. I don't give a fuck. That's not gonna fucking deter me. Like it, and so then it creates a solution-based mentality, right? You're never kind of stuck in swallowing the news that you're absorbing. It's just, hey, this is happening. It's quick to react and say, how the fuck do I get out of this situation? Because you're constantly battling. You're constantly going. Now I joke with people. The only thing that excites me is gated communities.
Gated communities.
That's it.
Like, you're all Lego sets with my daughter and gated communities.
My daughter being able to run out the garage door and I know that nothing's gonna happen. That's exciting.
I could see that. So it's one of those things where you grew up with the grit, and I think I grew up very, very humble beginnings. I call it humble. Yeah. Very, very poor.
That's a different type of hustle, right?
And so, there's one thing, I think that's what you hit on it though, is the culture there is when you grow up with very little, and I don't want to say anything bad about my parents. My parents try very hard, work very hard. They've done very well over the long run, but at the time, 4 kids. My dad was a, appliance repairman, and, there just wasn't a lot. But what you do and how you end up is you go, hey, I can just accept everything around me, or I can do things that can actually get me out of here, make the situation better. I remember I'd actually just like trade things up. Like, how they have the bigger, better thing? Yep. Have you ever seen that? Like, somebody like starts with a paper clip and they end up with a car or something like that, right? I didn't do it that extreme. But like, I would buy like, Atari stuff like at the secondhand store. And then I'd get like a whole set together and I'd sell that. And then I'd go get like the Game Boy, because Game Boy was like, that was where it was at that time,
Ooh, and then you got Game Boy Color.
Yeah, and then like I wanted Nikes. Like Nikes were a big deal even back when we were kids, right? But I wanted a pair of Nikes. My parents weren't going to buy me Nikes. So I had to go mow lawns and get the money together. And I remember buying my first pair of Nikes, and that was like all my money, huge. Man. And I shine those things up daily.
There's a scuff mark. You're like, we got to stop the day right now.
Just a second here. We're going to wipe these down. Just make sure they're clean.
That's funny you say that about the Nikes. Do you have an affiliate, like an affinity to shoes right now? Like as you're older?
I don't.
No?
Honestly, you know what? I really don't. Like I appreciate like cool things.
Yeah.
I have an affinity for cars.
Okay.
Cars are my thing.
What is it?
64 Lincoln Continental convertible.
Oh, damn. You go gangster. Putting Dayton's on that and dropping hydraulics?
I actually, funny thing you say that. When I was 16, I actually I took two 1964 Impalas, made one out of them, put Dayton's and hydraulics on it. People would try to start fights with me. I'm this little white kid.
Yeah, I was about to say that's the wrong culture,
dude. I'm this little white kid driving this. I mean, and I was like 130 pounds, wet and wearing boots. So like, I've really grown into my body.
Yeah. Hey, let's not compare size. I'm a little jealous right now.
But I had hydraulics on it and all that, and people were like, "Well, why'd you do that?" And I'm like, because I wanted to. Yeah. Why not? It was good. Super cool. Yeah. And then I sold it because it's a boat. It was the biggest car. And then I'm just a glutton for punishment. Later on in my life here, I'm like, you know what? If I can restore any car that I want, if I can do anything I want, what am I going to do? I'm going to do a 1964 Lincoln Continental. So I actually have my own YouTube channel where I'm restoring it.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, what's your YouTube channel?
It's Two Smooth 64. So TWO Smooth SMOOTH and then the number 64.
All right.
I'm just like documenting the whole process.
Dude, that is so sick. I'm so judgy when you said car guy. I was waiting for Porsche. I was waiting for like a new 2-door sports car. You would have said Miata. I was like, yeah, it fits. I'm just talking shit.
Dude.
I'm talking
he's
shit.
He's like, you know what, Jed? You know what? You're souping up a Prius, right? You put a dual motor on there.
Dude, you're the guy who's dropping a V8 on a fucking Tesla.
Dude, so what's really interesting is my wife was asking me, she's like, well, why are you restoring the car now?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have to restore it now. And you know why?
Because you started.
No, because they're gonna ban gas engines.
Yeah, in 2020.
So you won't be able to do it. So I'm like, you know what? Like this is it literally is a dying breed that you can actually restore these old cars. That we won't have the parts in the future.
Now, do you think like with this law, is that really gonna go? Where they're gonna just change everything to EV? I mean, you see the car manufacturers now switching everything to EV, but.
So, yeah, I think it will eventually. I don't think we're there today, but California just announced that by 2035 they're going to ban all gas-powered cars from being sold brand new. Now, I mean that doesn't mean that gas cars are going away today, but like I bought a brand new GM engine. You won't be able to buy one and get it shipped to California, and maybe it's just California because you got people like the Newsom, the gruesome Newsom.
Hey, that dude's running for president in 2024.
Dude, I hope he gets spanked.
Dude, Nancy Pelosi's nephew's going a long way.
I know, man. Like, everything's going down. People are losing jobs. People are losing their.
Elon Musk moved Tesla to Austin. I mean,
people are losing everything, and you look at the things he's spending money on, and he's not even trying to help. Mm-mm. It doesn't seem like he's even trying to help secure our borders or do anything. It's really interesting.
California is an interesting place because there's so much fucking money, but it's like the elite of the elite, right? They're the ones who have it, and then it kind of just trickles. You get a little bit of a trickle down, but I don't understand how people are surviving right now that are making 60 G's, 80 G's.
So interesting though that you say that. Like, I think that there's a big misconception for people with a lot of money. I think that having a lot of money itself is not really bad. There's like this conception. No. There's like these people. There's these people that sit in like their Gucci recliner and they've got like millions of dollars, and they got some people that are going and picking up coffee for them, which by the way, thank you for having the coffee delivered to me.
No problem. And we did it. That was one phone call.
But like there's these people that have tons of money and they're just like living in these crystal towers and these whole things. I think that I think people with a lot of money get a lot of bad rep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How did you get the money? Well, most likely you traded hard work or service in exchange for monetary money, right? So like you're gonna do a loan for someone, and for all of your work you get paid.
Right.
So they do that at a bigger level. They get more people.
Yeah, they
jobs.
just have better margins on their services.
You know, well, maybe not even better margins. They just have spread it over a lot of different things. Right. But that doesn't mean that they're crazy. It doesn't mean that they've got like that they don't have a grip on things. There's a lot of really good, smart people that have a lot of money. Right now, then you got people that don't have any experience. They haven't grown up in East LA. They haven't grown up in like they don't know what it's like to go without. And then they live in like a high rise in like a highly populated area. They've never experienced rural America, and they think that they're going to go in and change everything. And, you know, and then you got the politicians like, well, let's take money from them. Well, it's just like, you know, we talked about earlier on. You can't group all people from a state as the same person. Right. And you can't group all people with money. Like they're making all these new taxes and all these things. Steal from the rich, give to the poor. You know, the thing is like, you know, I mean, it's like everybody's like picturing Robin Hood, like, you know, and then these people with these bags of cash. But really, it's all these hardworking people that have worked their whole life to get to a place of financial security. And, you know, let's face it, there's a lot of people that don't work hard, that don't deserve anything if you don't work hard. I'm sorry. Like, you know, if you don't work hard, you don't deserve it.
1,000%. There's two things I would challenge. One is the concept of what is a lot of money. So the definition of a lot of money.
And it depends on where you're at.
Changes as you class jump. Like, I've never been as broke as I am today. And I've never had more abundance than I have today.
Do you need some money? I'm happy to like pull a 20 out of my. You know what I'm gonna do right now? I'm gonna just bless you.
No, and you know what?
we're gonna do this right here.
I appreciate that. You know what? Let's bet that 20 on.
It's 60, dude.
60?
$60. You get all my cash.
I'll challenge you that 60 for any type of bet that you want to do on sports.
Dude, no, because you know what? Here's the thing. And I was thinking about this. Is but I'm not a lucky guy.
No, I'm
not a lucky guy at all. In fact, you know what? Any good, strong man probably isn't very lucky, except for they've been lucky enough to overcome all the bad luck that happened to them.
No, they fucking gritted their way through it. They were prepared when opportunity hit. Right, that's the real definition.
There's an opportunity right there.
I can't, you know.
Dude, no. Here's the thing.
You get what I'm saying as far as like you.
We know that you're not that broke,
yeah,
but
like you're in Delmar, right? Like, yeah. Okay, let's just say you're making $500,000 a year, or
let's just
more.
say that. I mean, that would be awesome.
Let's just say you're making $500,000 a year.
Let's say I'm making $2 million a year. Why stop?
So let's just say you're making $2 million a year, right? Yeah. And you have a beautiful house in name the place. Let's say you have a house on Sereno Valley or Carmel Valley that's worth $1.8 million.
Which doesn't get you much.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Right now.
Fuck no.
Not in Carmel Valley.
No. But assuming, right, let's just use the example.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So $11,000 a month. I'm just shelling out cash. That's still a lot.
That's still a lot.
But then you got property taxes.
Not if you're making $2 million.
$2 million. Okay. Yeah.
Not if you're making $2 million. Okay. But the point was like, you're at a certain level, right? And now you're looking at it and you're going, yeah, I'm living pretty good. I'm balling. So that you can take that perspective, but fuck no, because we're humans. So what do? We go, that motherfucker in La Jolla is making $10 million a year. Fuck, I'm fucking broke. Because that motherfucker over there has he's up on, what's that? Mount Soledad with a fucking $7, $8, $9, $10 million house. And so then it's like, so what is a lot of money? So a lot of money then comes to the perspective of the person. Small town in Oregon. That guy looking at you right now thinks you have a lot of money.
And I mean, the thing is that it is all relative, right? Like, I mean, you need less to live in certain areas. We live in Southern California, probably not the most expensive place to live in the U.S., but one of the most expensive places. And so to what is a lot of money there versus what's a lot of money in Southern Oregon is going to be different. Yeah. Because what does something cost? Like, how much is a gallon of milk? How much is a gallon of gas? Like, all of those different things. But my point is like, you said, hey, you know what? I've never been broker than I am today, but I live in abundance and I have a lot. Well, yeah, you do. Because the thing is, it's not really about things. Okay. Like I was making a lot of money when I had my real estate company opened up in 2005. I was making a lot of money. I built a mansion on the hill, like all this stuff. But the thing that you realize is it's just things, man.
Yeah.
Because when it all goes away, which again, I lost it all, right? So when it all goes away, the thing that we have are the relationships that we built. Like, how are we treating other people, like, and the people we care about, right? A lot of times, the people we care about are the ones that get the least from us or the worst side of us because we trust them and we love them. But in the reality, we should be saving the best for them. Yeah. Which today, I told you, but today's my 9-year anniversary. So
dude, what are you going to do?
We're going to a really nice dinner, to a little speakeasy place. But it's like a dinner spot, right? So you walk, like it looks like this little hole in the wall, like nothing. Okay. And then you go downstairs and it's like this beautiful like restaurant. So.
Oh, that's so awesome. So, you touched on, we've been touching on cultures. You got the West Coast culture, right? And we've touched on Oregon, Washington, California. How do you think that differs from the other coast?
Okay, so I was actually at a donut shop. So if you ever get a chance to get the best donut that you ever have had in your entire life, then you need to go to a place called Sidecar Donuts in Del Mar.
Sidecar in Del Mar.
And there's one donut that will literally change your life, and that is the salt and butter donut. Now I'm hesitant to even tell people about it because people are going to swarm in there. There's going to be no salt and butter donuts for me.
So you're at the donut shop.
So I'm at the donut shop. I'm at Sidecar Donuts. And, I just talk to people around me, right? Like, I just naturally do.
Dude, are you the real estate agent that is handing your fucking card at a donut shop?
No. I don't even, like, you know what? Here's the thing is that I just like talking to people.
Okay.
Like, and here's the thing is like, there's this thing where, and I'm getting off topic a little bit, where people think like, hand out your card, just talk to as many people as you can. Like, look, all I try to do is help as many people as I can. Cause it's really not about selling them a house, it's about helping people get where they're wanting to go. Mm-hmm. Right. But anyway, so this lady is right behind me and I'm talking to her. I'm like, oh, are you from the area? Because a lot of people that come into like Sidecar or some of those places are from out of the area. And so I was just like, are you visiting? Are you from the area? Right. And she's like, well, I moved here 9 months ago. And I was like, really? Where'd you move from? She said, New Jersey.
Okay.
I was like, really? And I made some joke about New Jersey or something like that.
Now, did she have a nice tan? Look like
no, she didn't have a nice tan at all. She was tatted up and
she looked like Snook. What's that girl?
Snooki. She's like a blonde Snooki. And
careful now if you're watching and listening. Careful now.
She's
not attractive at all.
Definitely not attractive. No, didn't even cross my mind. That wasn't it. But so we're sitting there just talking about the donuts. Of course, I had to share. You got to try the salt and butter donut, right? Yeah. And I said, how are you liking the West Coast versus the East Coast? And she's like, well, I got to tell you, like, I just have no friends. And I thought, like, I'm in a donut shop and this lady's like telling me that she just has no friends. She moved here 9 months ago and what have you. And I was like, well, like on the East Coast, do you have a lot of friends? She's like, yeah, I got tons of friends everywhere. And I was like, it sounds to me like somebody needs to explain to you the difference between East Coast and West Coast. And she's like, could you please? Because I really need to know what I'm doing wrong. Like, do I smell funny? She didn't really say, do I smell funny? But, but she really was. She's like, what am I doing wrong here? And I said, it's the difference between eggs and peaches. And she looks at me and she's like, Jed, man. Like, okay, this is it. Like, she didn't even know my name, but she's like, all right, check, please. Can I hurry up and get my fresh donut? Yep. Because this guy's, something's wrong with this guy. I'm going to
have to change that salt and butter order. Obviously, he's crazy.
So I said, no, just hold on for a second. I'll explain. I said, on the East Coast, your eggs. And she's like, well, what does that mean? I said, well, you got this hard shell and a very soft center. I said, so like people are like, what are you doing? Why are you here? What's going on? Like, get out of here, whatever, right? But then when they like you, they're like, wait a minute, I actually kind of like you. Why don't you come over for dinner tonight? We're going to celebrate. We're going to have some steak, whatever, right? Then they're inviting you over. And if they say like, hey, I'm going to have you over, they're like inviting you over like that day. Yeah. Like they're putting it on the schedule, right? And it's like, once you're through that hard shell, soft center, you're in your family, right? And then you come to California. Or like West Coast, right? I'm not even just going to say California. And you get the peach. Oh, and people are like, well, what's the peach?
That's it. I know where we're going.
And it's like this soft outside, right? Where people are like, oh, you look so good, Tony. Look at that shirt, man. Dude, you know what? You must be pumping iron. Like, dude, I'm good. You're good. Everything's good. And they're like, we should get together, Tony. We should hang out, man. And you're like sitting there. You're from the East Coast. Oh, cool. Like tonight. And I'm like, let's get it on the books, man. Yep. Well, when? Like, I don't know, man. Next time I see you, we'll figure it out, right? And it's like
3 weeks from now.
Yeah. So the thing is there's like this soft, like they'll be very kind to you, very, very nice to you on the surface. But then you're like, hey, can I come over? Like, nah, I don't have people over at my house. I'm not going to really tell you who I am. I'm not really going to let you in that hard center, right? That peach pit, right? So then the question becomes, you know what the question is?
I'm intrigued. No, I don't. What's the question?
How do you get to the center of a peach pit? How do you get through that hard shell in the center? Consistency. Once people know your name, once they've seen you, you show up at the same place, you do the same things over and over and over. But maybe you go to the gym, I see you at the gym. I'm like, hey, Tony, Jed, you don't trust me?
No.
Like, be like, nice shirt, man. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
But then I see you the next time. I'm like, hey, Tony, so you work around here? A little bit. Next time I see you, it gets a little bit bigger. By the time you know my name, if you say Jed, then that's the time that we can be friends, right? It's like,
if you ask me how my weekend was, like, we going somewhere?
No, so it's just this difference, right? Yeah. Where it's like people take time to accept you here, whereas I think people are like, you're in or you're out on the West Coast, right? So it's a difference between eggs and peaches.
I love that. I love that. The West Coast peeps, you're absolutely right. We're like passive aggressive. We're fucking gonna be very nice at a distance. We're at the 6 feet apart was perfect for us. But to let them in, it gets a little more difficult. The gym is interesting, right? Like it's like first it's the smile, the hey. You don't even shake hands. It starts with a distant dab. Keep yourself over there.
Yeah, dude. Hey, I need a spotter.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah, you good?
We're not in that place yet.
Can you pull 225 off of me if I need to? Like, did you become a friend?
No, I didn't become a friend. I'm too much of a peach.
See, that's it. That hard interior. You can't. See, now you're tricky. I mean,
though. Here's the thing. Like, in all honesty, like, you know what? You got to be careful. Like, I didn't want to give the wrong impression to this lady. Like, I'm not, like, I love my wife. I don't want to come across wrong.
She's going to be,
you know what I mean?
She's going to be sliding in your DMs.
I want to be kind to people, but I don't want to be too comfortable.
Did you just realize my favorite movie is Crazy Stupid Love?
Crazy Stupid Love.
And I watch that shit every time I'm on a plane.
Crazy Stupid Love. I don't even think who's in that one.
Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
Ryan Gosling, Steve Carell.
I'm gonna have to watch it now, just because.
And like, I'll stop it like maybe like 3/4 of the way. But what I love about it is Ryan Gosling, player, right, is teaching Steve Carell how to be a man. Because Steve Carell is getting divorced, and he goes, "Hey, yeah, my wife's divorcing me because she cheated on me." And Ryan Gosling goes, "The reason why your wife cheated on you is because you forgot how to be a man." And he's wearing New Balance sneakers and, and a suit that's too big. And so then they go and they dress him up and they change his outfit and they change his shoes and they change his swag and give him a haircut. And I was like, fuck, that's so on. And sometimes I got to watch it because it just reminds me, like, dude, you can't wear your Asics everywhere. Like you're
putting on a tighter shirt right after that.
Yeah, that's it.
Because Steve Carell, I mean, basically, he's the epitome of what a real man looks like.
Yeah.
And acts like. I mean, when I watch The Office, I think, you know what? that's me. That's who I want to be.
No, but look, see, like your beard's lined up, your hair's combed, like you're dressed nice, right? Like your wife is still proud to be your wife.
I would love to say that I am the perfect husband. And you know what I always say to people? I tell all of my agents and the people around me, we can't expect perfection from people because people are imperfect just in general, right? There's no perfect person.
Yeah.
Unless you're walking on water, you're not perfect. Okay. So then I just tell them, they say, well, what do you expect then? And I say, well, I only expect excellence. And they say, well, what's the difference, Jed? And I said, well, the difference between perfection and excellence is that excellence means you get to screw up, but only that one way, that one time. You have to learn from your mistakes. Never being expected never screw up is an unrealistic expectation. I always tell them, I can handle any kind of screw up that you make. Be upfront with me. We'll make the best out of it. What I can't handle is you making the same mistake twice because that's not excellence. You didn't learn from it if you make the same mistake twice.
Dude, I love that. Well, you manage all these agents. How many agents you have under you?
Roughly 150.
Okay. At what point did you say, I'm going to stop investing in myself and focus on building my sales career and say, I'm going to go be a manager?
Well, it kind of happened naturally as I was selling real estate. I started my own company. We talked about that early. And I was the manager. So I started managing people and it just never stopped. So it wasn't really like this epiphany one day that I go, hey, you know what? I need to be a manager. I think, the toughest thing about being a manager, I mean, everything would be super easy if there was just no people.
Yeah. That's funny that you say that. I'm on a branch manager's call yesterday. I was like, why do we even have staff? Like the four of us are the rainmakers. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? We have a bunch of and I love all of you guys on my team. Absolutely do it. Everybody, I love you so much. But it makes it a lot more difficult when you're bringing people up, when it takes from your production. It takes from your ability to explode. But then you go invest in others. And there's heartbreaks when they leave, right? Because you give them everything.
That is the hardest thing. Yeah. When you really do give a lot of yourself and the other person doesn't really receive it in the way that you had hoped they would.
Yeah.
Because I think that different people are in different places in their life and you can invest everything all your knowledge, all these great things, but ultimately if they don't receive it, they don't actually do something with it, it's kind of a wasted time. It's that whole saying of you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And that is really hard when you invest in somebody very heavily and then they leave the next day. But I believe that everything in life happens for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And so when you can look at everything in that lens and you can say, the season's over. It's time for them to go. I can't hold somebody back from where they need to go. Okay. Or if I can say the reason they were here, and it sometimes really just smacks you upside the head. And it's like, this was the reason why they're here. The reason's over. Now they're ready to go. What would you want somebody to do for you? You'd want somebody to set you free to go and do that. And then sometimes people are in your life for a lifetime. They're running right next to you and you guys are running that race together and they're just your brother, your sister, whatever it is. And you're going to go in there long term. So that's helped me a lot, was to realize that people are going to come and go. They need to do what's best for them. Because that's what I'd want somebody to help me do for me.
Do you ever get the itch or to go say, I'm just going to go produce?
I think it's one of those things where I love the challenge of
of selling homes, because that if there's one thing I'm really, really good at, it's helping people buy and sell homes.
Yeah.
Like that is where I shine, right?
What separates you? What's your advantage?
Probably the fact that I've done so much of it. I just have an extreme amount of experience. I would say I'm not an expert at a lot of things, but I am an expert about helping people buy and sell homes. So, if there's a way to make it happen, we talk about our early childhood. If there's a way to make it happen, like I'm going to find the way. There will not be a cent left on the table. We will win. And winning sometimes doesn't mean you get everything you want, right? It's just that you get the absolute best outcome you possibly could out of that situation.
100%.
Okay, so that is what I am excellent at. I think it's, you say, do I get the itch to want to just go out there and sell sometime? It's all about where you're at in life. Again, reason, season, lifetime. Right now, I got little girls at home. I want to spend as much time as I can. I know you got a little girl at home too.
Yep.
And so you know what I'm talking about. I actually posted a picture the other day of my daughter. We're having coffee. It's Sunday morning. I make coffee. She helps me make it. And then I make her coffee, chocolate milk.
Yep.
Slightly warm, not even hot, in her little princess mug that I bought her.
Oh, that's so cute.
And she's just sitting across the table from me. And you know what? That's what I'm about, man.
Yeah, there's nothing better.
There's nothing. Like, I love my wife. I love my girls. I love my family. And, I love my friends. And it's just like, what can really create that abundance in my life? And I think it's those relationships and really being able to cherish that in the time that we have, right? Like, and that's not even just a saying. That's just real, right? Like, you can't ever get those moments back. Mm-hmm. So it's not just about work success, right? Because a lot of people, we talked about everybody having a lot of money and all these things, but like having a lot of money doesn't mean you're happy.
No.
Having a lot of, he who has much worries, right? Like there's that saying, the thing is that just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean that you have a lot of depth in your relationships. And I think we as humans are meant to have deeper relationships. I think it's a lot of times it's really hard, and I'm kind of going a little long here, but I think it's really hard for dudes or guys to get connected on a deeper level with other dudes and in a very friendship kind of way, right? But it's really hard for people to open up and say, hey, you know what? Here's my struggle.
Yeah. And
then have somebody come back to you and be like, well, this is my struggle. Just being real, because we all want to be the best that we can be, and to admit that I'm not the best at something, that's weakness, right?
Oh, that's hard.
And you grow up with that grit. Like you can't be vulnerable.
Nope.
But here's the thing. We all need that.
100%.
We all need that. We need people that that can come into our lives, that can be a support to us more than just something on the surface level, right? But can really help prop us up at the areas where we need to be propped up. And that's something that a lot of people don't have. And so we talk a little bit about culture, all those things. Really, it's how are you building relationships? How are you contributing to other people? I'll tell people what the challenge is? Invite somebody. You build relationships by doing things together.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just saying hi. I'm not going to build a relationship with you. Like, I'm working over in the corner. I'm going to be over here. We're just building a relationship. Yeah. That's not the way that it works. You're going to build a relationship. I don't care if it's bowling. I don't care if it's, playing a board game. I don't care if it's, running, exercising, doing whatever. If you're doing that alongside someone, you're building a relationship. You're getting to know them. And I'd challenge people, go out there and, challenge yourself to invite somebody to do an activity with you. And then I would say, challenge yourself to wisely, right? Like if it's the person that goes and spreads everything to everyone, probably don't want to say a whole lot. But if it's somebody that you can trust, I would say challenge yourself to recklessly abandon your emotions and just be raw. say like, this is what I'm going through. This is what and it's going to just enrich your life.
Yeah.
If you can have somebody that actually runs alongside you to help support you.
Do you feel like your wife is that for you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Like, dude, my wife's an amazing woman. She puts up with a lot.
Yeah. It's a happy anniversary to you too. There's no moment better than like daddy-daughter time.
Love it.
Your coffee moment, it sparked like this moment. I'm with my daughter at the mall, and I was going to get her some shoes, and we're right outside this sketcher store, and she hugs me, and like, you ever feel like your daughter wants to just like squeeze you so hard, and they give you the kiss,
best feeling, right?
And you're just like, Jesus Christ.
There's no feeling better in your life.
She's squeezing my fucking face, and she goes, Daddy, I'm so happy. Ooh, dude, there wasn't an ounce. Like, I tear up every time I say the story because it was a memory that'll live forever. Like, I'll take that with me. There isn't a transaction. There isn't a dollar. There isn't anything in this world that's better than that moment. And like when it's daddy-daughter time, there's like, I'm so glad I have a daughter. Like, she's the most stressful thing I've ever been through. But having those moments, those connections with her. This morning, her saying daddy, or I choke up when I talk about her. When I'm playing in bed with her, and like, we're just kind of hanging out, and now my phone will ring, and I'll go to get my phone. Jesus Christ. And she'll go, Daddy, put it away. And I'm just like, okay. And then for the next 2 hours, I'm just in bed with her, and like, we have this game, and when I change her diaper, I say, "Oh my goodness," right? And so she'll hit me, and she'll say, "Oh my goodness," and then I'll throw a big reaction like I'm a WWE wrestler, right? And fall down, and she thinks it's the funniest thing in the world, and then it's just like, there's nothing better. There's not a fucking thing in this world that I would trade for, like, to give up that moment.
It's those moments that make it all worth it, you know? I mean, my daughter the other day was crying because mommy had married me, so she couldn't marry me. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude. Like, I couldn't be happier. I'm like, I hope you marry a man exactly like me. Yeah. Like, that's what you're really thinking inside. Yeah. But like, you know, you have these girls, and they add so much love to your life. Yeah. And not that a boy couldn't. I think it's just different. I really want to make sure that a boy is going to treat my daughter better than I treated her, or love her more than I do, right? And that's a tall order. In fact, you know, we talk about all these. I worry about like my daughters growing up and maybe finding love in all the wrong places. You read those stories, you see all that different thing, and the way that I'm trying to keep that from happening is I'm like having coffee with my daughter, taking her on little dates, you know, opening the door for her, doing all that for their mom too. And then when I see her and I'm like, you know how you're going to know the boy that really loves you? She's like, how, Dad? And I said, because he's going to treat you better than I treat you, and he's going to love you more than I love you, and that's going to be really hard to do. So if he does both of those things, then he really loves you. Yeah,
you're setting the standard.
Heck yeah,
up front. You're setting the standard. Dude, this was fucking awesome. I think that's the first time I got emotional on my podcast, so you're a jerk for doing that.
All right, well, I'm sorry, man. I can't help myself.
I got that East Coast personality.
How many people have just paid you to be here?
Hey, I have the eggshell on the outside, but once you get inside, I'm smushed.
You're just a big softy inside, man. That's all it is.
That's it. There's not a tough bone in my body, though. I kid you not, you go to my house, it is all pink, gold, and marble. Everything. Which means there's not an ounce of me in there.
So we have to finish it with this, though. Okay, you told me, like, Jed, I pictured you as you know, fixing up a Miata. Okay?
I did.
Like, okay.
I judged you.
I mean, and I'm not going to say that I would think you'd probably be like a El Camino kind of guy, but let's if you had to pick a car that you were going to fix up, the perfect car, your favorite car, what would it be?
Okay. Do you want So I'm restoring a 98 Dodge pickup.
98 Dodge pickup.
Because that's my late uncle's truck that he drove. And he was like my dad. There's not a goddamn car I'd rather. It's parked outside.
So 98 George.
Okay, so
sorry, 98 Dodge.
That's for the emotional reason. But I'm not an old car kind of guy.
That's okay.
I would say if I could fit in the seat, I'd drive a Porsche. I just don't fit.
911 turbo.
GTS3.
GT3.
Yeah, okay. I just don't fit inside those bucket seats.
All right, but that's good.
My hips are too wide.
I can see you going fast.
Yeah.
All right, so if I see a GT3, what color?
Oh, man. I like white, all white.
If I see a white GT3 smoke past me, because I'm like all about my truck right now, like in my truck, then I'll know that it was probably you, and you're probably going to your next podcast appointment, and and I'll be like, I once knew Tony.
No, we're getting there. We're getting there. Dude, I'm excited for it I got to go see your Lincoln Continental.
Dude,
that'll be our next pro date.
Check out my YouTube channel.
I want to go see it in person.
Come by anytime. Every Saturday, I'm working on it.
All right, let me know.
All right, dude.
When is it going to be? Maybe not this Saturday, I'm in LA, but the next Saturday.
I'll be around.
Yeah, I got you. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, man.
Breakthrough. Let's go.